Never thirsty. Never thirsty.
Hey, 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 hey.
Yo.
Hey, hey, hey. We are live.
Episode 1. What's up, people?
We are live.
We're live.
Live. We
Like
are
Frankenstein,
live.
This is Never Thirsty, a new experiment in podcasting and broadcasting. I'm Stu Stone, aka Jitty Bambino. With me, we've got Neff, aka Neffy Neff, aka NVRThirsty.
That was so bad.
NVRThirsty.
You'll be apologizing for that for a long time.
All the way from Belarus or wherever he is.
Yeah.
Today, somewhere on the planet Earth, the always bizarre, sick producer though, WireFang.
What's good, fam?
Dunk, fam. So anyway, Never Thirsty, for people who don't know what that is. Just stay hydrated. Don't be thirsty in life. It's sort of like a metaphor you should live by. Like, don't be, if you don't stay hydrated, you get desperate for water and you become thirsty, and it's like a big tell. You don't want to do that. So, me personally, if people who know me well, like the way that Neff does and the way that WireFang does, they know I carry beverages with me wherever I go. I don't go somewhere without having an emergency drink if I ever need a drink, because I am never thirsty. And that's not just like, that's a fact. That is a way of life. That's not me trying to be cute. Like, people who know me will attest for this. I'm known for carrying beverages. In the United States, it would be peach Snapple iced teas. In Canada, you might see me with a vitamin water, but there's always some sort of drink. And I can't go, even when I go to parties, Neff, if I'm invited to a dinner party, I bring my own drink. And it's weird. I've been yelled at.
That is weird.
I'll have other people on in the future that will tell stories about how I got yelled at, almost kicked out of parties for bringing my own drink to the party. Now, is that something like if you invited me to one of your dinner parties? I know you have dinner parties all the time, Neff, charcuterie boards and whatnot. Would you be offended if I brought my own, like, not alcohol, like just my own, like, single serving drink to your dinner party?
No,
You
I would
wouldn't
not be.
You
I would
see what
get kicked out of it. I would not. I would laugh.
But it'd be okay.
It'll be all right with me.
It's not weird.
No. Well, no, it's weird. It's very weird.
Is
you
it
go to
weird?
somebody's house.
Because you go to someone's house, they're serving like 2-liter bottles that's flat on ice. I don't want that.
If I came to your house, first of all, my shit is crispy. And if I came to your house to eat dinner and I brought a bottle of Coke, and your mother would probably look at me like, yo.
Yeah, but I'm not bringing a bottle of Coke, okay? Mine is like a very unique I'm not coming with a carbonated drink. I'm coming with a drink that is to my liking. I know they're not going to serve vitamin water at a dinner party, and chances are I'll bet $1 million.
No.
Oh, it's okay. We lose the Jitty. It's okay. What happened? He's in Toronto. Sometimes.
Hello. I'm here. Hello. Can you hear me?
It's okay. It's okay.
It's
okay.
Yo, wait a minute.
I'm saying, like, I don't carry like a big boy like this to the dinner party. This is an embarrassment. I don't typically go around with this. My mother, who buys, she wants to make sure her son is happy. She knows I love peach Snapple. She's at Costco. She wants to buy a 3-month supply of Snapple because we'll save money. I prefer it in a glass bottle. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. So I'm showing up to your dinner party. I'm not rolling up with the big boy. I'll drink a big boy, but I'm not bringing that to the dinner party. But the dinner party, I'll bring a nice classy glass bottle of Snapple with me, or vitamin water. And people just know. Like, I go to their house, they're like, can I get you something to drink? And I'm like, no, I brought my own.
Well, at my house, it would be funny. We would accept you any way you are, Stu.
Well, WireFang has actually been to my place when he visited America, and he could tell you in my refrigerator, it's like a studio refrigerator, like not a studio apartment refrigerator, like a recording studio fridge is what my kitchen looked like. I have such a great drink selection at all times, and I have very good snack selection, lots of good frozen treats. So, you know, you're never thirsty or hungry, but thirsty is very important. And I'm glad we're getting this all out of the way in the first 5 minutes of our first experiment.
It's wonderful, brother.
Yeah.
So Snapple owes us something right now. Shout out to Snapple.
I do love Snapple. I wish that they would go back to the glass bottle. I guess there's some sort of environmental reason why plastic is better. I don't know.
Let me ask you a question.
Talk to them about it, but
do drinks taste better out of glass or plastic?
It might be a psychological thing. Like it might just be a placebo where it's like the same, but it's not the same. It is not the same. If you drink a Coke out of a glass bottle, it is different than drinking a Coke out of a plastic bottle.
Yes.
If you drink a Snapple out of a glass bottle that is like has like that nice cold sweat coming off the bottle like that, you know what I mean? That nice dew on it. That is a different experience than a plastic bottle.
Yes, 1,000%.
And I think like it just tastes different.
Yes, we agree.
Maybe it just is different.
No, I don't know. The glass is colder than the plastic. That's why.
I'm suspicious of the plastic bottle. And when they changed it, it really upset me. Yeah, it really upset me.
I think so WireFang went to Germany.
No. There you go. I'm here. I'm in the house. And the current events, Neffy Neff. What's happening today?
Okay. How you feel about what Biden's doing over here? I know you are a Canadian prepper, but you see what's going on with the vaccines?
I see what's going on with the vaccines. Do you see what's going on with the vaccines?
Listen, I see what's going on with the vaccines. He's trying to make everybody take them.
Yeah.
Forcefully.
Wow. Come on. Forcefully. He's not putting a gun in your face and saying, take it. He's saying, like,
yeah, no, he is.
It's going to be very difficult if you don't take it.
Right. That's a gun. A gun will make life difficult for you if you don't give up the goods.
I don't know, man. It's like, it's just like, I'm vaccinated, okay? I got double vaxxed.
But what if someone forced you to get vaccinated? Would you do it?
I mean, it's like I shouldn't have to be forced. It's like science tells me that, like, this is what I should do, and the doctors are smarter than me, and I don't believe that there's a conspiracy, and I believe that we're trying to do our best to try to, like, fight off a pandemic that shut down the whole planet, and I don't want to get sick, and whatever's going to help me not get sick and not get my family sick, I'll do. And you know what? If the side effects are I have a sore arm or I grow or I have a fever for a few days, side effects of COVID would be a lot different, perhaps. And I don't want to find out. So listen, obviously this virus is serious enough that it's shut down the entire planet. This is not an America thing. This is not a Canada thing. This is a planet Earth thing. So it's not like if it's a conspiracy, then everybody's in on it. There's some like evil Legion of Doom thing where like everyone's sitting around that table. How can we, you know, maybe that is true. Okay. I'll give you like this much of a chance, but come on, man. It's like, this thing is so big that like nobody, you know, they're throwing what they can at it. And if the people who aren't getting vaccinated, I don't know what, that's your personal choice. So go ahead and make it, but I don't necessarily agree with it, but I don't have to agree with it.
Well, see, I agree with 90% of what you're saying. 90% of it, I agree with. The only problem I think that the people have is to force me to take the vaccine. I've never been sick, you know, not me, never, but let's say a guy who's healthy, doesn't get colds regularly, never caught the flu. There are people like that. And they don't want to take no medicine that may or may not kill them. Now, when I say may or may not kill them, 6,000 people are reported dead from the vaccine, which is a drop in the bucket. Hold on, compared to the people that have it. But
have more people died from the vaccine or died from COVID?
It doesn't matter.
How many people have gotten the vaccine?
But here's the point. Here's the point I'm trying to make. Or do you want to be, or your child or your wife be one of the small population that takes the risk? What is the risk?
What's the bigger risk? Is the bigger risk to go out unvaccinated and catch COVID and die, or is the bigger risk to take a medicine that's designed to fight COVID and die? I mean, I guess there's a coin toss there, but
yes, there we go.
But how much of a coin toss is that? That's coming up tails more times than heads.
Right. But what I'm saying is, but what if just and I'm not even going to use us. What if someone else family member takes the coin toss? It just happens to be one of the small population.
I mean, that's awful. That's awful.
Right, but they should have had but they should have the choice to say if I'm going to do that or not. they should have a choice. If any life, one life.
Do you have a choice to wear a seatbelt or not wear a seatbelt? Is it a law or a choice?
Law.
I'm just curious.
It's law.
That's a law. So you're okay with that, though, even if you don't want to wear your seatbelt. Like, it's not comfortable for you.
That's true. Let's talk about that. How many seatbelts have killed people? Probably not that many.
Probably more than 6,000.
No. I'm talking about, you would hear about that shit. If people talking about this seatbelt is killing motherfuckers, as soon as I put it on, I died. There are people sticking the needle into them and they're dying. They're dying. So, and this is on the CDC. This is not a conspiracy.
I mean, I'm not saying that number is not accurate, and I think it's terrible and it's awful and it's fucking brutal. Yeah, I'm sure there's people that die from taking Tylenol. There's people that die from taking any medicine. So I guess there are people that like are homeopathic people that want to do everything homeopathic and they don't want to do that. That's on them. Sure, okay, but like that, they should still have. It's like a private business can make a decision whether they. I don't know, man. It's tough. We're on different sides of the fence because, like, I had no issue about it. At first, I did think like that. I'll be honest with you. When it first happened, I was like, wait a minute. I think I'm going to wait and see what happens. And I'm going to wait. And then when I was presented the opportunity to actually go, I also thought, oh, it's going to be a 4-hour wait. I don't want to go. I don't want to skip a line. I don't want to do this. I'll just wait my turn. And when it's my turn, my number gets called, then I'll go. And then when an opportunity presented itself for me to go get vaccinated, I spoke to a couple of my friends, and I was just listening to myself talk, and it was like, what the fuck am I thinking? Like, of course I should go get this vaccine. And you know what happened? As soon as I got the vaccine, I instantly felt psychologically a little bit better. I felt like, oh, that's one step closer. Then when I got the second shot, I had like no side effects at all. And I woke up the next day feeling almost invincible, even though we're not. We could still catch COVID. It's not 100%. But I felt a lot safer. So it's like, even if you know what I'm saying? It's like,
well, here's the thing.
They're not doing it to hurt us. They're doing it to help us. And it's like some people just don't want to be helped. They can't be helped. So what are you going
to do? Talking from someone who's vaccinated, me, right? Let's talk about that. So, because you was talking about that. So, yeah.
Talking about someone who's unvaccinated?
No, vaccinated.
You're vaccinated?
Yes. Now, yeah. So let's talk trash now.
Is that the big announcement?
Listen, now the trash talking begins.
Wait, so Biden stuck the gun in your face, and you were like, "Okay, Joe, don't do it to me." Okay.
I got vaccinated because I have to travel. I can't travel without the vaccination, hold on. And I got some money on the line that has to be taken. That was worth the risk. But I did a thorough investigation of what the shots do, what the mRNA technology is. I got to see what it does exactly. That's how I know 6,000 people died.
You're going to share the YouTube links that you used for those?
Absolutely. I can share that. Do you want that?
Boys,
yeah. But what I'm saying is I thoroughly searched. And
I'm actually so happy to hear that you did.
Listen, I knew you was going to be happy. But I'm telling you,
because like behind the scenes of Never Thirsty listeners and viewers need to know that behind the scenes I've been giving you a hard time.
Yes, you have. But what I'm saying to you is this: I still don't feel that someone should be forced to take a vaccine that may or may not kill them, unless you got it's thoroughly checked in. That you should be able to use the vaccine in an emergency situation.
I think it's like it's a gray sort of area in the sense that I guess technically the circumstances are being set up in a way that you are being forced, but it's not like a Gestapo that's knocking on your door with rifles saying like, take the vaccine. Like that's not how it is. So there are people that will not take the vaccine and they'll just continue living and they won't get to go here, there, everywhere. We should find out how it's going over in other parts of the world. As we are joined now from somewhere else on planet Earth, we have a very special guest joining us as we are just talking about the vaccines and what's going on with the chaotic world. Here's somebody that's in the music industry that's probably sees a different perspective. What's going on with festivals, live shows, what's happening. BeatGeek in the building. Please introduce yourself to radio, sir. Is he there? Looks like we might have a connection issue.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. How are you, sir?
Oh, sorry. It's the African connection. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. How are you, sir?
Very good, very good. What part of the world are you in right now?
I'm actually in Morocco, North Africa.
And what are you doing there?
Ooh.
Uh, kind of, I mean, long story short, I was in Spain and Sweden doing some research, and I accidentally came down here to visit my family, and then started doing research about music. There's so much culture stuff that we, part of the big world, have missed. The new generation, the hybrids, it's amazing.
So how
New,
how
a lot of new talent.
so you're like the Indiana Jones of music research, going out to find the new gems in music that people don't know about.
Exactly, exactly. It's
That's pretty
fun. It's
cool.
like being in the office at the same time traveling and looking for the next.
And of course,
I mean,
we'll get into your music career in just a moment here, because obviously for you, someone who has made a huge impact on popular culture and in music with hit songs, we'll get into all that. But like someone
Thank
like you
you.
who's been to the top of the mountain, to go now look around behind the mountain and go try to cut through the mountain to try to find new unexplored kind of sounds. That sounds really interesting. I want to ask you though, since we were in the middle of talking about it when you joined us, what's the situation like on that part of the world? With vaccines and COVID, and is it locked down? What's going on over there? And I think we lost him again. He's probably using my internet.
He definitely sharing with you.
Of course, while we're waiting for him to connect, Novell Jannusi, is it pronounced Jannusi? Novell, I just know him as
Jannusi.
Novell Jannusi. Novell Jannusi is you should look this guy up. BeatGeek, absolute legend. Some of your favorite, some of Neff's favorite songs for sure. Uh, Boy, he's got some pretty impressive credits. I can't wait to get into that with him. Is he? He's going to come back. Sounded like though he wasn't wearing a mask, so he's obviously in a place that's okay.
I wonder. That's a good news.
While we wait for him to come back, we were in the middle of a conversation here. You did research and now you got it, and I was saying that like force. I don't think that people are necessarily being forced like against their will. Some people can still continue to not get it, right? The vaccine, and they'll just won't be able to go into a restaurant, and they won't be able to do this and that.
Or work.
Yeah,
Their
or
jobs.
work.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a gun. The job. People get poor very fast.
Well, then go get a job in a place that doesn't require vaccinations. I don't know. Anyway, how is it going over there with
Sorry
COVID?
about the connection.
Is everything open there? Is it closed? What's happening?
Now it's to 9 p.m. So basically, you can't travel that easy. It's pretty much just regular flights, no other flights to to get out, and yeah. So it's the lockdown. This is the fourth wave, I think.
Oh, so it is. It's coming back strong over there. Are people getting
It
vaccinated?
came, yeah, yeah. It's I think now it's almost 40%, if I'm sure.
Hmm.
But I don't want to. That's the part. Is like the vaccination here is. You don't get to choose which one you want to get vaccinated with, so people are getting confused with that too.
Mm,
Oh.
So
yes. Don't envy
the whole
that.
world is,
So
yeah,
if
the whole world is wondering.
with music festivals and concerts and stuff sort of came back, but then they didn't, and some of them are still going. Does that sort of change the economy of music? I mean, I don't know how much of a
A
live
lot.
performer you are, but your hit songs get performed on the road all the time. I'm sure that's a source of revenue for you. So how does that
Of
change sort
course,
of the way you're thinking about the game?
yeah. You have to. I mean, you're trying to figure out other way because I mean, I'm thinking about my fellow songwriters, my fellow musicians, to find another solution where this kind of scenario happens. It doesn't have to be such a big impact for at least the music community. I mean, it's you're barely making money. Just uh, you just barely making on.
You may have to call back.
Yeah, the internet is really bad.
Yeah, that's that Moroccan internet.
Wi-Fi. The minute, yeah, that's not the internet. The Wi-Fi. The home Wi-Fi.
Okay, so episode 1, internet.
Well, listen, this is part of it, man.
Excuse me.
Oh, there we go. Now you're back. All right. Well, we've got. Can you hear us? We're having some connection issues here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
While we've got you, let's get to some fun stuff. Okay, let's talk about some positive.
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Okay, so let's talk about some positive stuff while we've got you here. So, you've worked with some really legendary artists. You've worked with some really legendary artists over the years, and big hit songs. What's the first time? What was like the first song of yours that really was that life-changing moment for you? That's what we love to ask people. Like, what was that one piece of the puzzle that was like, okay, I'm here now?
Backstreet Boys.
And how did that even come about?
Ooh, it was me, my sister King Grosso, Bilal. We were out. I was DJing on Saturday, and we're all staying at my place on the Sunday. We kind of hung over at my place, and Red called. Red was in LA at that time. He told it like he's gonna have Backstreet Boys coming over. So if we have anything to send it now. And we're all thinking like, holy crap, we don't have anything to send. So we're like, I was just sat in the computer trying to program something really fast, and AJ, my brother, jumped in on the melody, Bill and Key on the lyrics and melody, and we kind of like everybody helped chipped in, and then they loved it, they recorded it, and it became a single. So it's just that.
What was the single for those people who are going to be looking for it right now?
It's called Straight Through My Heart. It was the in-between album, I think, from what was the album before? It was just when I think it was 13 years ago.
Wow.
Something like that. More, 14 years ago.
And so, like, right after that song comes out, it's like it becomes like obviously a big hit song. It's like Backstreet Boys. It's like all of a sudden the phone starts ringing.
It was more than holy crap. Like, oh my God, we have to do something better. We have to top this. We have to do, So it was kind of like a wake up call for us to do better. You never know when the time is in. You have to be ready for it. So it was an interesting moment in life. We were still in Sweden at that time, so we didn't move yet to the US. So for us, it was.
I mean, I know that Neff has definitely banged that at his dinner parties. That is a jam. Now, what is it about Sweden that, like, all these big pop records in the history of popular music, so many of them come from Sweden? What's going on over there?
Ooh, it's a very interesting question. I mean, from different sides. We have, Swedish artists, and we have Swedish musicians, writers. So basically, it's like we had those cats. I mean, it was Dennis Pop, Max Martin, kind of like, they were the top of the tops here for us in Sweden. Like, I mean, they were killing it. And everybody wanted to work with there. That was the thing. That was the place to be.
Like, was Max Martin like already popular in Sweden, and then some American came over there, found him, and then
Yeah, no, it's Max did hits with Dennis Pop, and then I think if I remember right, Max uh, two artists, big artists, was the Backstreet and NSYNC, and
yeah,
then Britney came after that,
sure,
if I
unbelievable. And
remember
like,
correctly.
if you like look back at like even just like ABBA, like there's just
Oh
like a
yeah,
certain
oh
sort of like there's a certain sort of like harmonious kind of there's a style that's like this Swedish style that there are like these harmonies and the way it's not like very songs sometimes take like a left turn. There's great bridges always. There's like a certain kind of
and
there's more.
and Swedish snooze. You gotta have this when you're in the studios in Sweden.
Is that dip?
Yeah, it's like Swedish snuff. Everybody in Sweden knows what it is.
That's amazing. And
No,
and
I
so is there something to that though? It's like, there's just like a different way to sort of a different lens they're looking through to make music.
um, of course, of course. I mean, the melody structure is very different, but it's almost like surgically planned for the
Yeah.
melodies and everything. Uh, it's
A lot of
really
harmonies
well
too.
thought.
A lot of harmonies. A
Oh
lot of
yeah,
harmonies.
Mm-hmm.
melodies in the harmonies
They've
too.
got Bone
To kind of
Thugs
like
and
color it
harmony.
nice.
Yeah.
Exactly. No,
So what
I mean, to be honest, the Swedish, it's kind of like it became like just a hub for it. Like everybody's trying to be better than the other one, and the competition was such a strong competition to be really good in Sweden. I mean, you have to be fighting with I mean, comparing yourself with the biggest producers there. I mean, it's different,
yeah.
the competition.
Now in that part of the world, is it like in America, people who want to like they're musicians, they want to make it, they go to New York, they go to Los Angeles, they go to Nashville. If someone's in Canada, they go
Exactly.
to Toronto. So if someone's in that part of the world, if you're a musician, you go to Sweden to like, is that the place to go get discovered?
Oh, that's a good question. And
Well, we're waiting on this. While we wait for him to reconnect with us, what do you think the answer is going to be? I think it's going to be yes.
like the Motown of
Yeah,
their
like you grow up over there and you're like, oh, well, someday I'm going to move to Sweden.
yeah.
I'm
That's a
make
good
it.
question. That's a great
No,
question.
someday I'm gonna move to Sweden, and I'm gonna make a life for myself in Sweden. It's like that's like the, that's the goal. So obviously he's worked with Red One, he's worked with Backstreet Boys. I'm just looking up some other credits. Maybe WireFang wants to drop some
Yeah,
knowledge.
he was part of the team with Red One when they were making all of the hits with Backstreet
Like
Boys and
Backstreet Boys,
Enrique.
Lady
Oh, here
Gaga,
he is. Here he
Stupid
is.
Love.
I meet this
Yeah.
guy in an arcade playing Mortal Kombat in
Oh, that's
Düsseldorf.
hilarious. That's really funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, can you hear me? Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Question was so like people on that side of the world, like the way that in America people, if you're a musician, you go to LA or you go to New York or you go to Nashville.
Yeah.
In Canada you go to Toronto. In that part of the world, is like, oh, I gotta go to Sweden so I can get discovered. Is like that sort of the hub for music?
I think so. I mean, being born and raised there and kind of like trained there, mentored there, there was a lot of people coming from all over, from UK, from England, to whatever Max and that team didn't take, it got spread to the other ones. So everybody was making bread, basically.
Right.
So they kind of like started. They were making such a buzz, so like everybody else could make money out of. I mean, if you can't get Max or the Chevron team at that time, it was nobody until then. I mean, then Red One team. Of course, there was Merlin Music before that. That was killing it. So there was a couple of production companies that was really doing it.
Well, we have Sorry, Mr. Novell. We have a Danny Guez.
G-U-We-C.
What's up?
What's
What's up?
What's up, Stewie?
Yo, before we got to get to Danny Guez here, I just want to just get one point out here with our buddy Novell here. Just one more second here. So it's kind of like interesting because like in American modern sort of popular music, and I'm thinking I listen to hip hop a lot, so I'm going to use hip hop as an example. But it's like the equivalent of like Atlanta blows up. Now all the Atlanta rappers are like, and producers can make money. Houston has a run. Now Houston is in the mix. Miami gets on, and now there's all these 305 guys. Is it like that? Is it so? Or even Toronto with Drake? All of a sudden, is that? What do you think?
Is Sweden the hot spot for artists?
It's got to be
For artists, yeah, always. It's always going to be that because like it always comes new producers and they get trained by those that already been international, and they get better and better. It's crazy. It's like they start when they like, if I don't know, like 11. So kind of like, I mean, I started when I was 17, 16, work with, whatever you got to work with, the
Yeah.
PCs, 16-inch tape or whatever, like whatever you had, it had to work with it. Like just to sound freaking kick was like those, you guys remember, buy discs, they had to put on a Kai and then you have to sample it. And
Yeah.
next disc, that's where was our kit, So it's different. These guys are super fast, kind of like get how it works. So yeah, and they're learning from guys that are already been there, So it's fun.
It's unbelievable.
The new generations all over the world.
It's unbelievable because especially like in pop music, outside of, in North America, it's become such a melting pot now. But I mean, there's literally artists from all walks of life that are on the radio now. But there was a period of time where it's like either they were English artists or Swedish artists. Other than that, only American all the way.
Yeah. But it's been like that back and forth. But the only thing I feel like now with the new generation, it's just like they keep learning like history, music history, because people tend to forget about it. Because when you talk to young generation, I work with a lot of young talents. They're not so like when you talk to them about Michael Jackson and stuff like that, they kind of like know a little about everything, but not fully like why, how, like all those stuff, Tupac, the story behind it. Like I think that's very interesting how they like kind of like know a little bit of everything, but not really go full in those 10,000 hours on.
I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. And I think that's a generational thing in some weird way because like when I was a teenager, like I knew who the Beatles were. I knew who the Rolling Stones were.
Yeah.
I knew the songs. I knew who was in them. I knew music. And now you get with kids these days and like they don't know like, and I hate to be old man yelling on the porch.
Yeah.
It's like they don't even. I had an artist
Exactly.
that once was like, "Oh, Biggie, I listened to some Biggie. He has a tough life." I'm like, "What?" Like he didn't even know
like,
Biggie was dead. I was like, "What?" It's like
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
it's wild, kids these days. And we've got Danny Guez who's joining us, who's a fashion maven who's done clothing lines with some of the biggest celebrities on the planet. And he has a great musical background with us as well. Obviously, back in the day, he was a huge one of the catalysts for me even getting started in music was Danny Guez. But Danny, music and fashion go together. It's like a perfect fit, is it not? I mean,
it is. Yeah. The first. It's funny. I just spoke to Eve yesterday, but that was my first artist that I did a collaboration with, Fetish.
And that really was like the biggest thing because like I knew you and I know you like had other successes and you were working with huge labels and huge brands on a manufacturing, on a retail market, all of it. But when you went out on your own and that was your baby and Eve was like the hottest artist on the planet at that point, how did you even get, that was such a big deal and it did so well. Like,
yeah, I met through her lawyer, Brad Rose, who ended up becoming my lawyer. and he represents like Pharrell and Jay-Z and Beyonce, everyone. And then we just really got along. And then her manager, Troy Carter, and I became best friends. And Eve, my daughter, and Eve's birthday, my daughter was born on her birthday, and then she became her godmother, and we became just very close.
So like Eve is like family. She's like at your house for
she's in Atlanta right now filming her new TV show with Brandy. I just booked her yesterday, actually, funny enough.
So that clothing line, now your motivation, because I know that you like grew up in the world of clothing, and like if you didn't get into clothing, you would be crazy because it was like in your DNA.
1 second, my daughter's trying to get out of school. Sorry, hold on. Bella, hi, I'm with Stu the Jew. Hold on, let me put on mute.
We are seeing parenting live, and when I met Danny, he didn't even have a kid, and now his daughter is trying to get out of school. But I don't know. We guess we lost Novell, but I was having a good talk with him, and hopefully we can catch up with him soon, Neff. You can get him back in the books.
Yeah, BeatGeeks. Is this his Instagram on the bottom, at BeatGeeks?
Yeah, and I wonder if WireFang's going a little wild, just like throwing people.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about that.
You want the biggest one ever to come on?
No.
It's a big one.
Huh?
But we're in the middle of interviewing Danny.
Okay, sorry, I'm back. My daughter needed to get out of school. Yeah, so music is a big deal.
I just want to see if I can assess this, okay? Because this is part of my shtick. I want to see if I can like assess this correctly.
Okay.
You're in the clothing business. That's your family business. So that's it's like if you didn't take the torch in that business world, people would think you're crazy because like that's what your DNA. It's in your DNA. Yeah. But you loved music. Your passion was music. I know that personally because you were working with me and pushing me to do music and others, and you had big, a big vision of like where you could do with the music world. I think that you pivoted, and is it possible that you realized there was an aha moment where you were like, wait a minute, my contribution with music can be through the clothing lines, and I can change the way that artists make revenue because artists weren't doing clothing lines like the way you were doing it. So am I right in that sort of frame of thinking of like trying to carve your lane in the music world? I
think actually you're right. There weren't a lot of collaborations, but and I did in the beginning, just a dumb me just wanted to manage you and the music. My wife at the time loved you. You're still very talented, but I think it was just about management and music first. And then I realized I don't like having somebody telling me how to make money and when to make money, which is the entertainment industry. So I love the fashion industry, and there was a way to utilize the marketing from the marketing budget of an artist, album release, couple it with the launch of an apparel line, and make it grow. And when we signed Eve, she did a collaboration with Gwen Stefani called, I don't know the name of the song, but Who's That Girl? Like, who's that girl? Yeah, I forgot what it's called.
Wow.
Yeah, so we did that. And then from there, I did a deal with Justin Timberlake. That one went to stratosphere.
Yeah, that was crazy. It was like a jeans line and an upscale sort of Macy's sort of line, right?
No, it wasn't Macy's. It was Bloomingdale's, Saks.
Bloomingdale's, my bad.
Yeah. No, there's a difference.
No, I don't know the difference. We don't have either of them.
It was $180 jeans, and there was no reason Justin should have had his own clothing line. He doesn't know how to dress. And so it was the relationships that I had with Nordstrom and Bloomingdale's, and I really elevated everything on a manufacturing level. So I gave him permission to be in the fashion industry.
And so that was big because like after that the floodgates opened and everybody started getting into it. But
yeah, everybody succeeded in it. But I think everything, changes for a reason.
For sure. Now, do you see artists now that like, and I'm sure Novell can comment on this too, but like, it's like the staying power of artists. Well, he'll come back maybe. The staying power of an artist now, the shelf life isn't like it used to be. Like I can't even think of like who's an artist that's came out in the last 5 years that can go on a stadium tour. There's probably very few. So it's like, how do you know if there's like a long-term play here? Like how can you spot an artist and know whether it's going to be?
You don't. You only work with people that have had longevity And because you sell 1 million albums or 10 million streams now, it doesn't mean you can sell clothing. And either, you know, there's a big difference between merch and an apparel line. Those one thing has nothing to do with another.
Right.
And the development of a real clothing line is about $500,000 to just your ticket to entry if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So merch is completely different.
Now, I want to ask your opinion on this. Now, like Novell, who was talking about the Backstreet Boys, I mean, those guys obviously make a fortune on merchandise. But I want to ask you, Danny, as just like an outsider, someone who's in fashion and loves music. So you look at someone like Wu-Tang Clan, who started out as sort of merch, but sort of morphed into a clothing line. Like, is that an example? Is that a blueprint that anybody else is going to be able to follow again?
No.
Will we ever see that again?
No. WooWear, funny enough, we actually used to manufacture. They partnered up with an apparel company. It was a license. It wasn't them doing it on their own. I think the partner had the license of Tommy Hilfiger. Then they took WooWear. But they had a guy or a company that did high fashion urban wear. So they knew how to create a collection and a lifestyle. It wasn't just t-shirts and sweatshirts and hats. So when they really elevated everything on another level, that's when WooWear really took off.
Yeah, and then
those days don't really
exist.
I mean, like Travis Scott when he does a drop, and I think like pop-ups are really amazing. And social media, when I was doing this, social media didn't even exist. So you'll get a pop, you know, you'll get a hit. You'll be able to sell out 1,000 jeans, maybe, but it doesn't mean there's.
You go into stores where young people shop, and still 20 years later, Wu-Tang Clan T-shirts are still there, front and center. Like what's going to be the act today that you're going to see 20 years from now? Is there going to be Lil Nas X T-shirts? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, but that's merch. So Bloomingdale's will buy merch. Right. Bloomingdale's will buy concert T-shirts, and that's what it is, merch. But there's no longevity to it. If you want to build a $100 million company, there's no longevity to it.
So artists out there that have big dreams, you better have big money if you want to make this thing happen. You said it's $500,000.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it a movement? Like, sorry, I just want to ask: is it a movement when you kind of like the whole move? Because for me, it feels like a little bit like a movement. How Wu-Tang came in with it, and kind of like. Was it because there was a gap for it, or were there the right timing for it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like, why Wu-Tang? Why did that work?
So that's a great question. Everything is about timing. Everything is about honestly, everything is about timing. You're 100% right. It's timing. No, it is timing.
It's like riding a hit.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I think the thing also about like Wu-Tang Clan, like if you can compare them to like, you know, in that early 90s, 1989 to 1993, 94, we'll call it, like we're talking some like game-changing artists came on the scene. That are still relevant.
Old Dirty Bastard, if you remember, you met him too at my office. Sure. You know, you're not dealing with the problem. Dealing with the hip hop community as well is, including Eve. Funny enough, is nobody's ever on time, so you can't really schedule like in-store appearances or photo shoots or stuff like that. It was very up in the air, so that kind of played to it. And everybody thought that because you sold a platinum album, you could sell 1 million T-shirts or whatever. I remember I got into a fight with Justin Timberlake when we had William Rast, and he's like, you know, I really want that cashmere sweater we had in the line. I'm like, we never sold it. We never made it. Well, why didn't we make it? He like got upset. I said, because nobody ordered it. He's like, so we didn't make it? I'm like, no, you want the sample. I'll give you the sample. But what do you want me to produce 1,000 units just to put in your closet? So it's very hard for people to understand. The musicians, it's kind of like me trying to lay down tracks or understand what Justin does on beats, or, you know, Stu, you playing the piano, you just get it, you know? And the apparel industry, it's a business. It's a real business. It's something that's real, you know?
I have a question for him though. Let me ask him a question about you've been doing this for about 20 years or 30 years. I don't know how long you've been doing it. So
don't age me. 24. Yeah, 24.
This is a question. Being that technology has changed and made things a little bit more accessible as far as manufacturing and doing things, do you think it's still going to cost as much money as it cost 20 years ago to somebody with your skill level and your business savvy starts now? That number that you said, 500,000 to do it with everything that we have now, technology, we don't need flyers, we don't need, a lot of stuff is digital. Do you think it's cheaper now, or do you think it's more expensive?
It's actually probably more expensive. The 500,000 point of entry has nothing to do about marketing. So the technology that you're talking about is the social media aspect and the platform and the engagement and getting revenue. The $500,000 is developing the brand. It's getting sample yardage, it's cutting, it's adjusting the neck, it's bringing the neck up, bringing it down, cleaning the hood, making the fabric softer, blending, understanding. You know, I can tell you that in your closet, I don't know you from Adam, nice to meet you, by the way, that you probably have 50 t-shirts or 100 t-shirts in your closet. You probably wear 3 of them that you go on rotation because they make you feel good. You probably have about 20 pair of jeans or 30 pair of jeans or bottoms or whatever. You probably wear 2 of them that you circulate because that's what we're prone to do. Because that one jean that you bought, if it only had the waistband was an inch bigger, an inch smaller, the thighs weren't so big, the leg opening was just a bit bigger to cover your sneaker perfectly. That's how brands are created. It's where you're not happy with the status quo and you want to have something that's out there that doesn't exist. And then when you create a brand, you have to say, why you over them? And then also you have to think of, whose real estate am I taking? The apparel industry is about real estate. So if you have one table of jeans, you're going to have Citizens of Humanity, 7 for All Mankind, or the Urban Space, you know, name the brands. Which brand am I taking off the table to replace mine and why?
Right. It's and the fight for shelf space probably is even crazier now because retail is like, brick and mortar is like, forget about it.
What's funny is the biggest retailers right now, Costco, Sam's Club, TJ Maxx, off-price business is through the roof. And I think like with the emergence of Amiri and YSL, I don't think the middle ground I think is dead, like $120 jeans. I think you either go from $600 to $900 jeans, or you go down to $24.99. Yeah, my new brand, Dylan George, where our jeans are about $790, but everything is made in our factory. It's sick. Japanese salvage. It's ridiculous.
I mean, that's like you got to be some kind of baller to be wearing $700 jeans.
Listen, you know, I guarantee that you probably have a little sister or friends that can't afford Louis Vuitton bags, but they have a point of entry.
No, you're 100% right. There's people, that, especially, you know what? It's like you made that point. Like there's people that rotate their things. Like I have glasses that I wear every day. So it's like, why? If I'm going to use these every day, I should buy something that I like, that's nice, that's going to be on my face, and it's going to help me see every day. So maybe people have that. But there are people who become shopaholics. I feel like your brands don't give off a pretentious vibe to me. Like it's an understated wealth kind of thing. It's like, it's also one of your jeans, and you're like, wow, those are cool, and then you're like, oh, those are $900. But you don't walk in and you're thinking like, oh, there's, you know, it's like
no,
but there's people that we know that wear those jeans that are
it's like sneakers. Like in what world are you spending $15,000 on a pair of sneakers? In what world? Right. But people line up to do it all day long. But jeans you wear every day, and they last for years.
Yeah.
So when you have that one pair of jeans that fit you just right, and that one sweater or that one T-shirt that makes you look a bit buffer or cuts you up a little more, or hides your stomach or enhances your stomach depending on your build, apparel really means a lot. Fashion means a lot, even on the basic level.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, most of the money goes in actually developing the product. That's what the big money goes into. Yeah, having the line and making it perfect.
Yardage, making samples, doing the patterns. Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
It's like, you know, owning that one baseball card that's really valuable, or finding that one on, you know.
Well, you know what, hip hop is sort of like that, but in a way. But hip hop, they change clothes every day. Even the bums in the street match their sneakers with their
like shoes. So, like I buy a pair of Jordans, I wear them, and people are like, "Are you crazy? You're wearing your shoes?" And I'm like, "What do you mean they're shoes? I'm wearing them because I want to wear shoes."
So I'm asking this because there's a lot of people out there trying to do fashion. That hip hop is big with the fashion now. As far as the new rappers wear their own clothes, the merch they're trying to make the merch how you're doing it in big time fashion. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, I forgot. Boom. You know what I'm saying? So because of that, hip hop is just a little different. The cuts are primary. The t-shirts got to be a certain way. But now we have technology that'll tell us what t-shirts to get, what cuts to get, and not as high end as yours. I'm not talking about what you're doing. I mean, on a lower end in the hip hop scale of things, when people are just starting out, developing a product to a perfect specification like you, they may not be able to do, but they can get a lot closer than what they could before. Back in the days, the Wu-Tang had to go to a manufacturer, get the t-shirts made up, get them physical. Now you can, kind of cut the line and start things.
You're not cutting the line. You're just going to an American Apparel and buying a blank, is what you're saying. When you want to do something custom, you're actually meeting with the pattern maker. You're cutting it. You're making your first sample. You're applying the shrinkage. Then when you put on your first sample, it's going to be incorrect no matter what. That's a first sample. Until you get to your fourth sample, that's when you're going to be ready for production. And that's when you're going to buy your 1,000 yards at $6 a yard. Sewing and da-da-da. Yeah.
Because people want to know this information, and that's why I'm asking you.
Because there's so many. There's like websites, and there's so many ways for people to like make T-shirts and slap their thing on. And now I have a clothing line, but like what Danny's talking about is actually a clothing line.
Yeah.
Where you're manufacturing the actual. You're not buying sweatshirts from somewhere else. You're making the sweatshirt.
You're actually.
We literally have 72 sewers here in Vernon.
So I guess where's that come from?
My daughter
okay.
I'll call you back.
Yeah, we only got 8 minutes left here. You'll call her back in 8 minutes.
Okay, real quick.
No, we're good. I hung up. It's fine.
What I'm asking or what I'm seeing is for advice for young guys that want to do it, young kids coming up that want to get into fashion, that don't have $500,000 to get into fashion, or even $100,000. What would be your advice? What
you do is you start up with 3 SKUs, come up with a sweatshirt, a t-shirt, and a pullover, and have a reason why. And is it because your favorite off-white shirt, it's too baggy, the shoulder drop is not good, the opening, this, there's a reason why. If it's just to slap on a logo, buy an American Apparel. Everything that you do in life, whether it's music, whether it's apparel, whether it's making a computer, there has to be a purpose of why you're doing it. So the reason why I do it is I know when people wear my stuff, they feel better about themselves. And there's a reason for it. So the reason why I know that I'm always successful in the apparel industry is because I don't chintz out. It's not about the dollar. That comes later. It's about the passion, throw it on, and then when you have that is the nicest sweatshirt I've ever worn. Those are the nicest leggings. Those jeans are sick. All that hard work that took me 6 months to develop that is why I did it.
Right. So it's like, to put it in a music perspective, he's not just going in and like making a beat in 5 minutes and like putting it out. He's like taking 6 months. It's like me making a movie. It's like I shoot a movie, then I got to edit it for 6 months. I got to color it. People don't see all of the behind the curtain that goes into it, and then I show it to you, and hopefully people are like, "Oh, that was a sick movie," and that's the reward. And I think Danny's saying that that's sort of the same reward for him.
Right. So I got that. I just wanted to see what we could tell the youth that's starting out that want to do what he does. How could they start without that financial?
Well, I think to Danny's point about like the why now,
start with one.
Yeah,
there we go.
Even speaking to guys like Mark Echo and stuff like it, that I've spoken to that. What
do you mean, FUBU? Damon would take the sweatshirt, throw it on LL, take a picture, take it off LL, go to another video shoot, throw it on him. It started with one. So
one sweatshirt.
That's great advice.
And Mark Echo was like selling the Rhino shirts in his high school, and it like popped off. Like that's some punk rock You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's took off in he owned his hometown. He's a very rock and roll story, the Mark Echo story. But
a lot of guys aspire. They want to be you, Danny. They want to be that.
Stop it.
You know what I'm saying? So you gotta let them know how it's possible. That's all.
Did Stu ever tell you the story where he opened up for Wyclef at Barfly?
No.
How about when we were at the Century Club and I went on stage with Wyclef?
And how about Andre Cleveland?
Yeah. Oh wait, there was a Wyclef show where he was performing. I think it was like at a university or something, a college. Like it was like an arena.
Yeah.
And I went on
no, that wasn't Wyclef. That was a different thing.
What was that?
It was at where the Lakers used to play, not Staples Center. The other
at the Forum.
At the Forum. Dude, I lost another $5. You cost me a lot of money, by the way.
Nah, listen, it was worth it because it led you to where you are now.
Right.
We had some good times, though, Danny, and we should talk about those next time because we are running out of time. But you actually proved to be a very I'm very happy that this happened because you have a lot of insight, and I think we just barely scratched the surface with you. So I'm sure if you could give us your time, maybe we'll do it again, like again and again and again. Maybe you become a regular on this program just talking about everything.
I know. It's like the 72 employees I have, they don't need me. I could just sit here and we could just talk about, clothing. That's so funny, bro, that we went through. Anyway.
Well, we'll talk about it again. Be safe, man, and mazel tov on all your success, and never be thirsty, man. Do you know that I used to do you remember any beverages that I would carry around back then?
Red Bull?
Sure, I'll take it. That's Danny Guez, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
and
awesome.
We had Novell on the show, and WireFang, shout out to him and Neff and Danny's daughter trying to get out of school.
No, Amy now. Amy's calling me.
Oh, tell her I say hi. His ex-wife calling him. And that's going to be our Never Thirsty. Remember, folks, never be thirsty. Stay hydrated. Don't be desperate. And you're going to you never know what you're going to get on these broadcasts. We just had I didn't even know any of this was going to happen, and I'm happy that it did. And there's Slow Jam Cam, and I'm going to have a talk with WireFang about his podcast ethics, which don't exist. He's awful at this. Literally, he's like sabotaging his own success. But there's Cam, and we are going to wrap it up here on Never Thirsty, and we're going to yell at WireFang off the air, and we will be back next time with another brand new conversation. You never know where the authentic, real conversation, Neff.
Yes. It was wonderful.
It was wonderful. I had a good time, and we'll do it again. Never be thirsty, folks.
Episode 1.